What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Sports Outlet Show Season 6. I am your host, Joe Wagner, alongside my two very close companions, amigos, whatever we want to call each other, Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. You may have heard a little different intro here because Season 6, we're all about just feeling the pizzazz. And Brent, you sounded great on there, but the real shout-out is to Maddie Burkle, who set that up for us, an amazing intro with all the music, design. I wish we had some choreography. I'm just kidding. We'll update it. But sounds fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us an epic entrance. And now everyone's just sad because they have to look at us the rest of the day. So
that's true. It's a
big
best. Letdown.
I'm doing my best. But Maddie, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And it's definitely a new twist. But welcome to Season 6. Gentlemen, how are we feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. We're 6 days away from our fantasy draft here, us boys, and we're officially a week away from the NFL season starting. Kicking us off, Eagles versus the Cowboys. That matchup got a little bit sweeter for Braden. I'll let him talk about that a little bit, but yeah, some big news today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for that game here coming up in a week. I'm just most excited about raising a Super Bowl banner in front of the Dallas Cowboys. So very, very happy about that.
Oh, wow. So you're telling me that my Wisconsin beer is not the greatest thing to happen to Green Bay today?
Oh. Yeah, what's that about?
I mean, why not celebrate with the Packers? We're football fans, so cheers.
Hey, Packers are our next podcast. But I think we have to discuss the big news today. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard, but Micah Parsons traded to the Packers. They're only giving up 2 first-round picks, which you got to think about it a little bit. The Packers, they haven't been in the top 20 in like 6 years. So it's going to be a high draft pick. So 2 low first rounders and Kenny Clark, who is reaching age 30. He's a good defensive tackle, but he's getting older. Certainly no Micah Parsons. And I just feel like you don't give up a generational talent, an undeniable top 10 player in the NFL. It's crazy. I can't believe it. And as a Giants fan, I'm stoked. I'm stoked for it.
I mean, when you're laying down and watching preseason, getting a little pregame nap, it's bound to happen at some point. It's definitely kind of weird. But I mean, hey, Micah Parsons is a Packer. Crazy news. I mean, we have a lot to talk about today as well. So we'll dive into it. But the time Eastern Standard is 7:19. Can we talk about the fact that Brent is wearing a Chiefs shirt? What are we doing?
Well, the little backstory is it didn't end up working out for me, but I bought this ahead of a important matchup last season. It was the last game of last season, Chiefs against the Eagles. As y'all know, huge Giants fan. I was a huge Chiefs fan that day. It didn't work out for me. They got pummeled, but I kept the shirt and I'm wearing it for the podcast today for the AFC episode.
Braden, I have no other words to say at the moment. I mean, it's not the NFC, but we're both repping our squads. He's already given up on the Giants is what I learned from this.
We'll find out next week.
But anyways, let's give you a little synopsis going into the next 2 weeks. Obviously, today we have the AFC Breakdown. You'll have the NFC Breakdown on September 4th at 6:30. Braden, tell me what's happening September 4th at like 8 o'clock?
Yeah, we mentioned it a couple times. We're kicking off the NFL season, so we're trying to sneak one in the NFC Breakdown right before the season starts, right before that Super Bowl banner gets hung there in Lincoln Financial Field. I
mean, sometimes you get a Mickey Mouse Bowl. I mean, to win the bowl. So, I mean, anything about the Philadelphia Eagles. We have talked way too much about the NFC. We're kicking it over to the AFC. That's what we're talking about today. And teams were randomly assigned here. Typically on the Sports Outlet Show, we like to draft them, but we let a little random go to test our skills a little bit here. But unfortunately, I get to kick you off with the New England Patriots, who last season went 4-13. So Go ahead, sit on down. We still have a couple teams till the blind top 10. So if you need to go and grab a drink, we'll get there. Spoiler alert for you guys. But I mean, this New England Patriots team looks nothing like it did when Bill Belichick ran it. Gerard Mayo, one and done in Foxborough. I mean, everything seems to be in turmoil from a team that used to be a dynasty. Enter Mike Vrabel, a guy that knows how to go into controversy and knows how to turn a team around. Vrabel was 54-45 with the Titans before having 2 final losing seasons and getting fired and sitting back in 2024 and watching the chaos happen. Little context here for you. We'll go into their last division and last conference championships. Funny enough, the year was already mentioned of 2019, and 2019 is the last time they won the AFC East. They also won the AFC that season. Enter Mike Vrabel into his first year. He's got an assignment, right? Second-year quarterback Drake May entering the fold, and everybody is just as excited as when you heard the names Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady with this staff. So last year, a little bit of context, he threw for 2,300 yards, had 15 touchdowns on the air to 10 interceptions, a ratio they want to keep down a little bit. And then obviously the kid can run, right? So 54 carries for 421 yards as well. Obviously took over in week 6, was made the starter for the first time. And I put air quotations around 2024 Pro Bowl selection. The Pro Bowl means nothing anymore. So, I mean, threw it in there to help you out a little bit. But they went after their guys in the draft, right? Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson had a very disappointing season last year. Antonio Gibson was a part of that craft as well last season. They move on to Travion Henderson, their running back at Ohio State, expected to be the day one starter, who had 144 carries, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns in what's debatably a down year for the Ohio State Buckeyes, sharing basically 50-50 with Judkins, who we'll talk about later on. Second-round draft pick, number 38, bringing in an additional weapon. They go out and they get wide receiver Stephon Diggs, the former Houston Texan, Buffalo Bill, Minnesota Viking. Will go down the line to the Minnesota Miracle, Braden. We just love that one. Only playing in 8 games last season, had 47 receptions for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns, but just had an injury bug for the remainder of the year. Obviously, you can't go through without also referencing they went out and got their guy, Will Campbell, as well as Henderson, and then another guy in the 3rd round, Kyle Williams, coming from Washington State. They've done everything they can to surround Drake May with talent. They even got rid of the former 2022 first-round pick in Cole Strange, which was the strangest pick we've seen from the Patriots, pun intended on that one. The kid from University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, unfortunately, will be looking for a new home this upcoming season. For the Patriots, their over-under is at 8.5. All these odds are based off DraftKings. Thanks, Brent and Braden, for pulling them up because I don't do that. So thanks for pulling that up. At 8.5, I think that's a bit egregious with a team that's looking to not just double, but add an additional for the over-bettors. They're at plus 115 on their playoff chance odds. I have them at 6-11 for their floor and 10-7 for their ceiling. And my final projection is Drake May makes a little bit of strides going into year 2. I think a lot of things can happen here, but I have faith in Mike Vrabel. He's a great head coach, can lead the veteran status a little more. I have him going 7-10 this year. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a sweet spot for it, and I think that's where a lot of people have them ranked this year. I thought what would you say it was 8.5 that they're projected. I also thought at first that was a bit egregious, and then I pulled up the schedule, and I forget sometimes that the Patriots are in the AFC East. Obviously, they play the Bills twice, but we'll get into it here. I think the Dolphins are probably going to take a step back this year, and obviously the Jets are nowhere from perfect either. They also play the Saints. They play the Panthers. Sorry, Joe.
Hey.
Titans. I'm just looking at some of their schedule. Browns. So they have a lot of winnable games on their schedule. Obviously, love the coaching change in Mike Vrabel. And Drake May was one of my guys coming out of the draft last year. So I really think the Patriots will take a step up this year and might even squeeze into the playoffs. So we'll see.
I'd be surprised, but it's fair. Braden, let's go way down south from Foxborough and talk about, in my opinion, one of the most intriguing teams going into this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins, many would agree, had a very disappointing season last season, finishing under 500 at 8-9. They haven't won the division in a very long time, since 2008. It's pretty much been since then that either the Patriots or the Bills have just taken over the division and haven't given it to anybody else. Their head coach is Mike McDaniel. He's going into his 4th season. He's a very fun guy. He's eccentric. But I think another season like last season could put him on the hot seat, because last season was very disappointing. They were expecting to be a playoff team. And another player that could be struggling in his position after this year, if he continues the performance that he put up last year, is Tua Tagovailoa. He's going to be my player to watch for them this season. Their quarterback threw for 2,867 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions in 11 games played last year. We all know his injury history, a lot of concussions, and he just hasn't lived up to the hype that he had coming out of Alabama so far. I think this year is a make or break year for him. He was extended a couple years back, and he does have a couple more years on the contract. But with 2 pretty good quarterback classes coming up in college football these next 2 years, the Dolphins could be looking to make a change here if Tua doesn't take a step up. They brought in a lot of guys in the draft: Kenneth Grant, Ollie Gordon, Jason Marshall. Ollie Gordon could be interesting with Jalen Wright missing some time here. That just came out today. He's injured. Through free agency, they brought in Willie Gay, Rasul Douglas, and James Daniels. One player that they brought in through trade, they're bringing back safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's returning to Miami in exchange for Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and swap of 7th-rounders with Pittsburgh. Minkah has been one of the premier safeties in the league for the past couple years, since he's been drafted, really, and that's a huge get for Miami to bring him back. Their over-under is set at 8.5 as well, similar to the Patriots. I think they're going opposite directions, though. The Patriots may be trending up. I think the Dolphins are trending down. I had their floor at 5-12 and their ceiling at 10-7. Their chance to make the playoffs is plus 220, and my final projection for them is going to be 6-11.
The Dolphins is such a weird team for me, because it feels like with Tua Tagovailoa, right? Talking about him, you debatably and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And then you look on the other side of the ball, and A-Shane is running the ball. Obviously losing Jonnu Smith, a huge portion, who was just a stud last year for the Dolphins. But like, it almost feels strange that they're what you said at 8.5 for their over-under wins. You feel like that's a playoff caliber team of if they have the right guy at quarterback. And is Mike McDaniel there much longer? Brent, what do you think on those?
Yeah, I don't know. And I think the season might truly be in the hands of Tua. I mean, obviously that's kind of chalk to say, considering he's the quarterback of the team. But the fact that he hasn't played, a 17-game season in a long time, you just have history there with the concussion concerns. And I think that it might truly be a problem for them this year. So I don't think they're going to be that great, but I will say you got to mention the name Darren Waller.
Yeah.
He's back.
Pulled out of retirement.
I'm not mentioning that name. I said what I said about Jonnu Smith being a giant loss. If this man can't produce on the Giants, no offense, he's not going to perform with Tua Tagovailoa and sharing between Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So
hey, who knows? They might roll him out on a wheelchair or something. You never know.
We have seen crazier things in the NFL. That's all I'll say. But Brent, wow, talk about the luck of the draw. You walk up to the cellar in Blacksburg, right? And it's luck of the draw. You get your Lucky Chance beer for $3, and you pull the Mad Elf out of the hat at Christmas time. Tell me about them Bills.
Heck yeah, we're talking Buffalo Bills. The Bills are one of the most interesting teams in the league this year, and not just on the field. They're also the stars of Hard Knocks this season. And I don't know if you guys caught Tuesday night's episode, but it was kind of a yikes for them because they spent half the episode hyping up 6 bubble guys. Shane Buechele, who's their 4th-string quarterback. Frank Gore Jr., who obviously we all know as dad, future Hall of Famer. Zach Davidson, who is the backup tight end and actually got some punts in the preseason game in the episode. Jimmy Carlo, who's a linebacker, special teams guy, and KJ Hamler, who we all know from his time with the Broncos. Only for all of them to get cut right before the show aired. So talk about awkward timing with the airing of that episode. Now, on the field, Buffalo's coming off a 13-4 season that ended in heartbreak, AFC Championship game, 4th and 1, Chiefs. We all know it. The ref spotted it short, and I know Bills fans still have nightmares about that. But hey, silver lining, the NFL is rolling out Hawkeye technology this year, so maybe no more phantom spots ruining seasons. Because even though I'm in the Chiefs shirt, I gotta remain unbiased here. I think they got the first down.
You think?
I think. I know. Sean McDermott, he's still at the helm, and of course, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. But my player to watch is Keon Coleman. With Khalil Shakir banged up, Coleman has a real chance to make an early impact, and even Deion Dawkins has been hyping him up as a breakout guy. So with a room full of mediocre talent at the receiver position, which of these players is going to establish themselves as Josh Allen's go-to guy, which is obviously a valuable position to be on this team. The biggest addition, though, probably comes on the defensive side of the ball. It's Joey Bosa. Yep, the Bills went out and got Bosa to bolster that defensive front. If he stays healthy, that's a huge boost to a defense that already gives offense fits. Vegas has the over-under at 11.5 wins. I've got their floor at 10-7, so right below that. Their ceiling at 14-3 if everything breaks right. And between Buffalo and Baltimore, they've got some of the best odds to make the playoffs. I'm looking at it here. Bills are -800, Ravens -650. So you're not making much money by betting them to make the playoffs. And I've got the Bills finishing right where they did last year, 13-4 in the mix for another deep run. Now the question is, can they finally get over that playoff hump?
I mean, you think the Buffalo Bills, right? And I think if you look at the odds, I would assume that they're number one to win the Super Bowl, number one to make the playoffs. Like, we've been saying this since 2020 of why can the Buffalo Bills not get to the Super Bowl and what is the problem, right? Well, obviously the easy answer is on your shirt, Brent. It's on the screen, right? Is the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll talk about them later of how dominant they've been in the AFC. But every single year we're talking about the Buffalo Bills, and they're so disappointed in the playoffs. I don't know what's more painful, being a Panthers fan and not even getting there and not having hope, or being a Bills fan and seeing Sunday Night Football, whoever's announcing Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes and going, oh, snap, here we go again. So, I mean, it's demoralizing. I'd love to be the person that says this is the year. I think if you go back to every year podcast we've ever had, I've said this is the year. Josh Allen did get a ring. He did get a ring this year. It wasn't the right ring, so maybe we needed a ring for the ring, if you guys are picking up what I'm saying.
Sure,
we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see. We'll get there. We'll try our best, but you guys give me the New England Patriots. Not you guys. Sorry, ChatGPT. You guys give me the New England Patriots, and I get the New York Jets, right? So I'd be pumped if I was talking about the other New York team. I would be absolutely jazzed to talk about the Giants, but maybe I'll get them next week. We'll see. We'll see. Talking about the New York Jets again, I'll be talking about another first-year coach here and defensive coordinator from the Lions, Aaron Glenn. Obviously saw a lot of him last season with the Lions, who also had a disappointing end to their tenure as well, taking them from debatably the worst defense in the NFL to a top 10 scoring defense. So intrigued to see what type of head coach Aaron Glenn is for a team that really is lacking a lot of hope. They had it for about 9 seconds in 2023. They had their moment, and they learned that East Rutherford, New Jersey is unforgiving. So it's unfortunate to be a Jets fan at this time. Aaron Glenn will be his first time as a coach as well, as a head coach. The Jets have not won this division since 2002, and they're coming in as the Pups. as well as they have never made it in the AFC conference merger, whatever, it goes back to the 1960s, right? They've never made a conference championship. They've never won, a conference championship game. So definitely something to look at there in New York. But my top player to watch, you could go a lot of different ways. Everybody talks about debatably their best fantasy football player in Breece Hall. I want to highlight Garrett Wilson, and it's a fact that we'll have an Ohio State to Ohio State connection that we're familiar with in Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson, right? He played all 17 games last year, hit the 100-century mark in receptions, hit the 1,100s in yards, almost got to 10 touchdowns, only got to 7. And when we talk about quarterback play last year, it was as abysmal in the NFL as it gets with the Jets. So putting up Mike Evans' consistency numbers is impressive from the kid himself. Obviously, my top incoming player, it is Justin Fields, right? Bear to a Steeler to now a New York Jet, right? He's a guy to look out for, and debatably outplayed Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh last season before getting benched starting the season 4-0. Don't understand it, but you don't always ride the hot hand when it's Russ time, right? So he had 1,100 yards on the air. He had 5 touchdowns and 1 pick, and that excites me if you're a New York Jets fan, is that Justin Fields took care of the ball last year in Pittsburgh when he had it, as well as he ran for 5 touchdowns as well. So you're talking a 10-to-1 ratio. If there's anything to be excited about in New York, it is that statistic right there. Another thing to be excited about is if this offense can be half competent, in my opinion, people can disagree. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL when you look it down and break it down through a roster. Will McDonald, Keanu Williams, Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter, not the running back, the second. I mean, Andre Sisco, Tony Adams, you put them all together. They have a dynamic defense, and if Aaron Glenn can take them to top 10 in a conference like this, if you can beat the Dolphins twice, if you can beat the Patriots twice, maybe split it with the Bills, you're talking about a playoff potential, right? They're playing the same opponents legitimately that the Patriots are when you break it down into scheduling, right? So 2 other things to be excited about for the Jets. They're over-under on DraftKings sitting at 5.5, as well as a plus 450 odds to make the playoffs. That's something you could be interested in. I have their floor at 4-13 and their ceiling at 8-9. It's also important to talk about they went out and got Ahmad Membu from Missouri, the offensive tackle, to get a little extra help for Justin Fields. And then they go out and get a tight end that the Jets just haven't seemed to have. Yes, I'm dissing Tyler Conklin, have not seemed to have in a long time. So with Mason Taylor, the LSU tight end, who set the reception record for a tight end last year at 55, another thing to be excited about. With that being said, I like to talk about the excitement, but I also know who the Jets are going up against with the Buffalo Bills. I don't think they compete with the Patriots. I think it's hard to compete with the offensive talent of the Dolphins as well. I have them going 6-11 this season, taking a step up, but I do think Aaron Glenn is the guy to right this ship. I think it is just going to take a little bit of time for just teams that have been irrelevant in the AFC East. If you're not a Patriot or a Bill, you've been struggling. So that's what I have on the New York Jets.
Yeah, I mean, it might be pretty obvious, but I really think the key for the Jets to win ball games this year is to play stout on defense, which right, like you said, their defense is pretty stout, and then run the ball. They have Breece Hall, they have Braylon Allen. I really think that running back duo can do a lot for them, and obviously adding the legs of Justin Fields, even though you're not really getting much in the passing game with him, I think it could lead to favorable situations. If they can get up and stay up, the defense can bring them home. But I'm not expecting huge things for the Jets.
No, I'm expecting things to run through Orchard Park. That is just within the AFC in general. Braden, you have a tall task ahead of you. We may have 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 6 Denver Broncos super fans in here. So take it away and know you'll be shamed in the comment section.
Yeah, the Broncos, perhaps a bit of a surprising team last year. They had Bo Nix coming in his rookie year, and he killed it, if we're being honest. They went 10-7. They did lose in the wild card matchup versus the Bills, 31-7. So not a great showing in that playoff matchup, but that's something to look forward to because that's their first playoff appearance since 2015. That Peyton Manning riding off to the sunset. that Super Bowl season for them against the Panthers. Since then, they've had abysmal quarterback play up until Bo Nix. Their head coach is Sean Payton. We know him for his time with the Saints. He's in his third season with the Broncos. He's gone 18-16 with them so far. I mentioned him a couple times. Bo Nix is that player to watch. Quarterback going into his sophomore year. Last year, he threw for almost 3,800 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. He also ran for 4, and he caught a touchdown. So him going into his sophomore season, he's sort of overshadowed by Jaden Daniels' rookie season, one of the best rookie seasons we've seen from a quarterback ever. Bo Nix did really solid in his role as well. They've also added a lot of guys in free agency, J.K. Dobbins, Evan Ingram, and then from the 49ers, they got Dre Greenlaw and Talanoa Hufanga. That's great pickups there from them, just solidifying their roster. And in the draft, they got R.J. Harvey, running back as well, and their 20th overall pick, cornerback Jahdae Barron. He was a beast at Texas. He might not make an immediate impact, but he will gain a lot playing in one of the league's best secondaries with Pat Surtain, the former Defensive Player of the Year, there to mentor him. He reminds me of Cooper DeJean in that way. He didn't start many games up until the bye week for the Eagles last season, so I could see Jahdae Barron playing a similar role. Their over-under is set at 9.5 this season. I have their floor at 7-10 and their ceiling at 13-4. They do play in this division with the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Raiders. Maybe not as much of a threat as the Chiefs and the Chargers, but you can't sleep on those division teams. Their chance to make the playoffs is -165, so they are expected to make the playoffs at this point. I have them going 10-7 once again and hopefully sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah, the Denver Broncos just seem like a team that got it all figured out. I mean, you talk about last year's draft class, right? First of all, the quarterback core was stacked more than we maybe thought they showed out a little bit. Drake May played incredible. Jaden Daniels was debatable. He was the best in the draft class, but debatably an NFL MVP last season, talking about the Commanders. I'm not going to talk about Caleb Williams. I mean, he's got things to work on. Bo Nix was incredible. Michael Penix has an opportunity in front of him. But in my opinion, Bo Nix is right there with Jaden Daniels in a sense of being a team leader, being a captain, and the fact that he can sling the ball, right? And that's important to see from Bo Nix, and exciting to see as a Broncos fan too. I am very, very high on R.J. Harvey as well. At the running back position. So intrigued to see if that offense can continue to catch fire, and Cortland Sutton fantasy owners should be happy. So,
yeah. And I mean, the best defense in all of football, best offensive line in all of football. So those two things alone will get you wins. No matter
sure
what
doesn't
division.
hurt.
Yeah.
It sure doesn't hurt. Oh boy. I mean, we have to talk about them. They're known for blackjack, but I'll kick it over to you, Brent.
Yeah, shifting over to the desert, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. 2024, it was rough, 4-13, and it's now been over 20 years since their last division championship back in 2002. Raiders fans are starving for something positive in the AFC West, and the big storyline this offseason, Pete Carroll is back. The 73-year-old couldn't resist the itch to get back into the fold. He took a short break after Seattle, and now he's roaming the sidelines at Vegas. At 73, I'm not sure if he's drawing up plays or just asking where the early bird special is, but hey, the man can still coach. He can still coach. Now, here's the good news. The Raiders' offense is actually exciting. Brock Bowers already planted his flag last year as the best tight end in football in his rookie season. And now, instead of Aiden O'Connell, they've got Geno Smith. Geno is not elite by any means, but he's a huge upgrade, and we've seen him lead a functional offense in Seattle. Those offenses in Seattle were actually pretty good. They were above average. Add in Ashton Jeanty, the best running back in college football last year, and the weapons start looking dangerous. Everyone's buzzing about rookie wideout Jack Besh, but keep an eye on fourth-rounder Dante Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee as well. He's been flashing all camp and currently looks like the better rookie wide receiver of the two. Then you sprinkle in Amari Cooper, hoping to squeeze out some vintage Amari from back in the day, plus Steady Eddie Jacoby Myers, assuming he doesn't get shipped off, since those rumors did pop up last week. There were a little trade buzz there. But this group is loaded. The Raiders' offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. The defense, not so much. You've got Max Crosby, one of the best pass rushers in the league, and then who else besides that? Christian Wilkins was supposed to be that other anchor, but he's gone after some weird locker room stuff, to say the least. I don't really know what went on there, but it was a little weird. Past that, you're relying on guys like Jeremy Chin and Jamal Adams, who are both past their peaks. That's a problem to me, especially when the other teams in your division are defensive powerhouses in the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, as we just talked about. Vegas set the over-under at 6.5 wins. I think the floor is last year's 4-13 because of that defense. But with the offense, I think they could scratch out 8 and 9 if things fall right. I'll split the difference and go 6-11. If this team was in the AFC South, I'd love their chances to maybe even win the division. But this is the AFC West. They're playing the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos twice. That's a tough, tough hand. I don't think it's this year for the Raiders.
I mean, you talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, and you were mentioning Geno Smith, right, about coming in as a veteran. I want to blow your guys' mind a little bit. So Geno Smith came into the league in 2013. Very personal year for me, as it's the same year that Geno Wagner came into our lives. Everybody asking me if my dog was named after Geno Smith when he was tearing it up in New York, and look how far we have come as my dog turns 13 in a week. So a little excessive. It's a little wild to give you some Geno Smith backstory, but I figured you'd appreciate it. Ashton Genty, who? I'm just kidding. Heisman.
Should have won the Heisman.
Go back to the podcast in December. We did a slideshow presentation. We put our brain cells together for one time. It was pretty nice. It was pretty good. It was almost like going back to honors math analysis and calculus. It's the only way we passed. So, David, I hope you're watching out there. Anyways, I get the pleasure of talking about my first team, guys. My first team that made the playoffs. They did okay. I think they did all right. Going in to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll talk about – sure, Brent, sure. We'll talk about groundbreaking news in a minute, but first we're going to talk football. 15-2, obviously 2024 AFC West champs, 2024 AFC champs. For the 7th straight appearance, they went to the AFC Championship game. I was 16 when they did it. We're going back in time, this podcast, gentlemen. That's what we need to name it. But head coach Andy Reid is going into his 13th season. He's 157-58 during his coaching tenure. He has 3 Super Bowl rings, 7 straight AFC Championship appearances. He's won 5 of them, 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls as well. The only one losing in 2022 when we saw debatably the best Super Bowl I've seen in a long time, Bengals-Rams, which was just absolutely electric. Andy Reid is the GOAT of coaching ever since Bill Belichick went out of office and decided to go back to school. But Xavier Worthy is my guy to watch. You could say Patrick Mahomes. You could say Travis Kelce. You could go through the defensive chart. You could say Harrison Butker as well, but I like being able to speak live. But Xavier Worthy had 59 receptions, 638 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But I don't want to highlight that. I want to highlight, even though it was kind of a dogfest in the Super Bowl, just how much Patrick Mahomes slung the ball to him. He had 8 receptions for 157 yards, over averaging close to 20 a reception with 2 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy is his guy, especially with Rashee Rice getting suspended for 6 games. Fantasy owners, buy in now. He's going to be a wide receiver 1. Also, Patrick Mahomes didn't even need it, but they go in the first round and they get an offensive tackle out of Ohio State, Josh Simmons. the left tackle who was dealing with a knee injury in October for the Buckeyes, but still ended up being an honorable mention All Big Ten player despite barely playing half the season. That tells you all you need to know about this kid. Their over-under set at 11.5. Their floor for me is set at 10-7, ceiling 15-2. They're a minus 350 to make the playoffs. This team just has playoff bound written all over it. I don't see the Mahomes dynasty dying. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, the only Super Bowl ring they're getting this year isn't a Super Bowl ring, but it's a ring on Taylor Swift's finger. So give me the Bills in the bowl, but I will not be surprised if this team makes their 8th consecutive AFC Championship game.
I was wondering when you were going to go there. I knew it was coming at some point.
Well, I mean, we have to attract other audiences that isn't just football. So I think our viewership just spiked about 100,000 people just by mentioning the name. So
that's
I
true.
think that's what we did.
I see Chris pretty active in the comments. He really liked that. He really liked that mention.
I'm happy. We got Chris, you founded this. Just hop on the screen next time. We'll pull you up. Let's kick it over to we got one more team here to round out the AFC West, but don't worry, we still have 8 more teams after that. So if you need another beer, now's the time to go ahead and go grab it. Who's got my Los Angeles Chargers?
Yeah, that's me. I think the Chargers are just going to keep on charging. 11-6, very solid in the regular season. They do lose in the wild card matchup versus the Texans, 32-12, in which Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions. It just seems like that is the standard for the Chargers. Was it last year or 2 years ago that they had a huge lead on the Jaguars in the first half and blew that? Just Chargers regular season dominance just can't get anything done in the playoffs. You think about the year that they were number 1 on offense and number 1 on defense, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So this is just consistent with the Chargers as a franchise. The last time they won the AFC West was back in 2009. And the last time they won the AFC was back in 1994. And their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, is the only coach out of this division that doesn't have a Super Bowl championship to his name. He does have a Super Bowl loss and a national championship, asterisk, but no Super Bowl win. He's gone into his 2nd season with the Chargers. He did very well, 11-6, like I said, in the regular season. My player to watch is going to be inside linebacker Deion Henley. Last year, he quietly played his way into the starting lineup. It was his 2nd year. He was drafted in 2023. He led the team with 147 tackles. He also racked up 7 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 8 pass breakups. And he was playing on a torn labrum from week 4 onward last season. So he's a beast. He was named as one of the 3 defensive captains alongside Derwin James and Khalil Mack. So that's how much this team respects him, naming him captain along those 2 guys. They brought in a couple guys here. Najee Harris might only have 1 working eye at this point. They brought back Keenan Allen, and they drafted Trey Harris. Their probably most influential guy they brought in, though, was 22nd overall pick running back Omarion Hampton from UNC. Over 2 seasons as a starter at UNC, he had almost 3,600 rushing yards and 30 touchdowns. And Jim Harbaugh likes his running backs. So expect Hampton to get a lot of work. Their over-under win total is set at 9.5. I have their floor at 6-11, but it's the Chargers. They're going to do fine in the regular season and then choke in the playoffs. Their ceiling is 14-2, which is surprising in a division this good. Their chances to make the playoffs are minus 130, and I have them going 10-7, same as the Broncos. So it might be a tight race between those two.
I think it's very true, Braden, that titles need to be vacated, right? So
yeah,
we'll get there eventually, I hope. Maybe one day. I'm not sure. We'll get there. Anyways, it's time, right? So we just went through 8 teams. We got 8 more to go. Guys, we're gonna go to the Bengals next, right? That's what the fans want, correct?
Right, exactly.
Should we hear from them? I hear them. Braden, do you hear them yelling? What are they saying?
I don't know, something about 10 blind people.
No, we talked about Najee Harris. Come on.
Okay.
Next.
That was the Chargers.
They're talking about the blind top 10. Today we have tailgate foods because you can't tee it up any better for football season. Hey, we made it food related, okay? It is surrounded around football, but it is food related. Running out of topics, guys. Please send them to me or Kelby. You can send them to Kelby. But a couple things, because now I know we at least have all the people watching that this is mostly relevant to. Taylor Swift isn't the only one to get a ring recently. There's been 3 given around lately. One's on my hand. Shout it out. My beautiful wife, Kelby, made that, by the way. First podcast married. So we have a podcast married edition. She's obviously holding the second ring. I can't put my finger on the third.
Yeah, boys. It happened. It happened.
Woo!
Obviously, my beautiful fiance, Maddie, she helped make the song you heard at the front of the show here. But I'd say Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce really stole our thunder this week. So
absolutely,
I would say so.
They had to copy us, It's just a shame.
I think they need to give you free tickets to the Super Bowl and free tickets to Taylor Swift concerts that you can sell.
There you go.
You'd be a millionaire.
Agreed.
Well, Braden, it's okay because it's kind of like the song Diamond Rings and Football Teams with Luke Combs. You either get one of these or your team gets to win. You can't have both right now.
Okay, that's
fair.
You
don't get both. You don't get both.
I'll take this one for now.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I eventually would like the Panthers to win one, so we'll get there eventually. But anyways, we're talking about the blind top 10 tailgate foods. We had to get that announcement out while we knew our fans were watching because we know why the viewership is up. It's because we've been doing this. There's no other reason. So we have to give the people what they want. Braden, Brent, while I get this pulled up, tell me who's going first today.
I forget who went first last time, Braden. I don't remember.
I don't either. I know the one time we did very well, you went first. So if you want to take it.
All right. I'll try my best.
Here we go. We're locked and loaded. Would you guys like a hint to know, or would you like to just dive in?
What do you think the hint would give us too much of an advantage?
Yeah, you're not getting it.
All okay.
Right. At number 1 for your first selection, welcome to top 10 tailgating foods, is the loaded nacho.
Loaded nachos. So is that like what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
So you pull up to the tailgate, right? There's a plata loaded nachos. Let me lay the scene, all right? We got tortilla chips. We got all the cheese you could want. We got jalapenos on it, sour cream, a little bit extra queso, some guacamole.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a fan, you can put some black olives on it. It's on the side because we're being polite.
All right, I'm really liking that. I'm really liking
what
I'm hearing.
Loads and loads of hot sauce.
I mean, there's some top tier tailgate foods that I think are coming, but this one definitely has to be in the upper half. I think Braden would agree with me on that. I think I'm going to put it at 4.
All right. Remember, you will be judged by my wife. Big judgment, guys. It's coming. It's coming. Uh-oh. Guys, you're already getting ridiculed.
Oh, no.
She will stomp up here at the end of the podcast, and these guys will get a lecture. So get the notebooks out. Get ready to hear. At number 2, Braden, I'm being specific on this one because it's going to change your opinion. It is beef sliders. It is not a burger. It is a slider.
Okay. Sliders are pretty good. You can pound down a few of them, but like you said, that burger is more traditional. It's more what you're expecting. So I think the sliders are probably going to go on the bottom half here. I still enjoy them quite a bit. I think I'm going to put them at 7.
I respect that.
7. All right. At number 3, Brent, kicking it back to you. I think you're actually a fan of this if I remember our tailgating experiences together, but, based off this list, we might have to go shopping for Atlanta. The stuffed jalapeno popper.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm a huge fan. I know if I'm pandering to the audience here, I don't know. I don't know if they're top 3. Just because I know some people aren't a huge fan of spicy. In my personal rankings, it would be top 3, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of a pandering here. I'm going to put it at 5.
Yeah, everything you said, Brent, I'm 100% with you.
Very nice. Very nice. At number 4, this is an interesting one. You know, you can't have a tailgate. This is my mom in nutrition speaking. You can't have a tailgate without a vegetable. So what's better than a nice buttery corn on the cob?
Ooh, okay. Interesting. I don't know how often you end up seeing that one at a tailgate. See, when I think of a tailgate, I know Mama Wags, the nutritionist, but you don't see that too often. So I think I'm gonna put it pretty low here. I do love some corn on the cob, but it's just not. It doesn't come to my mind when I'm thinking tailgate.
All right.
So I think it's gonna go. 8 here.
Corn on the cob.
Hearing from your fiance to use your brain, Brent, get used to it.
Oh, jeez. I'm worried now.
At number 5. Hold on. Let's look here. You guys seem to do this. You have 1 through 3 and 9 and 10 still open.
Yep.
We're playing conservative.
This is crazy.
This
All
always
right.
happens.
At number 5, pigs in a blanket.
Oh, pigs in a blanket. That's pretty top tier, in my opinion. Got to have the little smokies. Dip them in a little ketchup. Dip them in a little mustard. I'm gonna go number 3.
It's a good pick.
Thank you.
It's a long time since I've had pigs in a blanket. Brent, I will say your last 2 picks have matched Kelby's, so you may be saved.
Let's go.
Number 6. Braden, you can ask a clarifying question if you would like with extracurriculars with this one. But for right now, we have pretzel bites.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I will do that. Do we have anything on the side, or is it just the bites themselves?
We have pretzel bites, and mustard and queso is available to dip.
Okay. Issue is there's 2 at the top there that I think are coming on here. That are coming later on. That
think about the fact that I tried to give you a hint earlier as well.
Okay. I'm comfortable slotting them in right below jalapeno poppers. I think that's pigs in a blanket, loaded nachos, jalapeno poppers, and then our pretzel bites there.
All right.
I'm all right with that.
And here we go. Top tier and bottom tier.
Braden, I know the things you think are missing from the list, but you need to think away from it.
Okay, good to know.
There is your hint. We're not traditional here at the Sports Outlet Show. I didn't say top 10 favorite. I said foods you find at a tailgate.
Okay.
At number, what are we at, 7? Number 7, I think I know where Brent's going with this. We got buffalo wings.
Oh, boy. Oh, man. I got to go 1. That's my favorite food at a tailgate, hands down. It just is.
That's one of the ones that were in my brain there. So I 100% agree. Number 1.
That is the quickest I've ever seen a shot taken at number 1. Very well done. You know what? For one of these podcasts, should we, the 3 of us, pick a topic and get Kelby and Maddie on here to do it? I think it might be time to flip the script.
It might be.
a good idea.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. Maybe Atlanta edition. Who knows? At number 8, Braden, you have mac and cheese.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to go 2. It's got to. Scared for what we.
You can't put that at 9 or 10 and have a respectable list.
Yeah,
so
there's no shot.
We're going for broke here.
Yeah.
Well, Brent, you get the honor of picking between 9 and 10, right? I think Braden cooked you guys a little bit with corn on the cob at 8.
Yeah, should have gone lower.
With number 9, at 9 or 10, you have grilled sausages.
That bites a little bit, but I would still probably rank that like middle of the pack, so I'm not too upset about it. Braden, I don't know if I should go 10 or 9 here because I don't know what's coming next, but I'm gonna gamble and put it at 10. I think what's coming might be better. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good play.
What do you guys think is coming?
I hope it's not beer.
It's food. It's food.
Okay,
It's not
okay,
beer.
good.
It's not beer.
I would say hot dogs, but you said it's not traditional, so
Well, your hot dog and burger was taken out for beef sliders and grilled sausages.
okay, interesting.
So, we obviously know the top 3 is a hot dog, a burger, and a beer, right? But we can't be traditional. There's no
Sure.
fun in that. There's no fun in that. So, I'll give you guys a hint of what is missing. It's probably at least in your top 3. This is something you need to have a skilled person to make.
Interesting.
Oh, sorry. Got to give you guys the suspense.
Skilled person, eh?
They got to know what they're doing, and it takes a while.
Oh.
You got barbecue ribs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gentlemen, how do we feel?
It's not the best, but I don't hate it. We've had worse.
I'm gonna be honest. If you flip grilled sausages and corn on the cob and shoot barbecue ribs up and let it come down, I think you have a perfect list.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
From your 1, 2, 3 is I would argue still better than barbecue ribs.
Yep.
Your 1, 2, 3 is immaculate. It is great. Your 4, 5, 6, 7 is where you could probably move your 9 and 10 around. It's not the best list you've ever made, but it's definitely not the worst.
Agreed.
I'm happy with it.
I think it's pretty solid.
You'll see what your actual judgment is soon, I promise.
Can't wait.
It's waiting. I thought you guys did fine. But anyways, the reason behind that is now I know at our tailgate we need to get buffalo wings, mac and cheese, and pigs in a blanket. We're good. And beer.
Yes,
and
beer.
Beer is important. That's what we've learned. What would you have done if beer was at number 9?
If I had to put beer at 9 or 10, I would just probably just leave the podcast.
Call it quits. We're not built for
Well, thank you, Kelby and Maddie, for joining us. We understand if you don't hang around any longer. But hey, Joe Burrow is about to be talked about, so maybe that might keep you around. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, back to football. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep. The Bengals, 2024, it was a letdown. 9-8, missing the mark for a team that was in the Super Bowl just a few years ago. Their last conference championship was back in 2021 before losing to the Rams in the Super Bowl, as I mentioned. And Zach Taylor is now entering his 7th season. I was honestly surprised to see this, but he's sitting at 46, 52, and 1, a losing record, which it shocked me a little bit. I think that's kind of wild for a coach that's been gifted Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, but losing record. So let's be real here, though. The Bengals offense is going to be elite. It might be the best in football. As mentioned, you've got Jamar Chase, who's the best receiver in the league. T. Higgins as the perfect complement, probably the best number 2 wide receiver in the league. And Joe Burrow, who's hands down a top 5 quarterback. I've got him at number 3, and I think most people would have him in their top 3. That's firepower. No matter who else you got, those 3 guys alone, that will score you points. The guy I'm watching, though, is Chase Brown. With Joe Mixon gone to Houston, Brown stepped up last year in a big way. 990 rushing yards, 11 total touchdowns, and he did it as both a runner and a pass catcher. And he didn't even get a full allotment of carries until like week 4, week 5, when Zach Moss got banged up a little bit. If he builds on that, this offense could be unstoppable. Now, the defensive side of the ball, it's ugly. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. Honestly, I think they might be the worst in the entire NFL. The Bengals just refuse to spend money on that side of the ball, and it shows. Trey Hendrickson finally ended his holdout, but he's only under contract through this season. Like, that didn't even make any sense to me. Why are you paying this guy for 1 year when you already had him locked up? You're just giving him a little bit of a pay raise. Are they really going to let him walk too? And don't even get me started on Shamar Stewart. 1.5 sacks at Texas A&M, held out in camp like he was a star, and for what? He's a bum. He's a bum. Tanner McKee lit this defense up like it was 7-on-7 in the preseason. The starting defense lit them up. If a backup rookie can slice through you, imagine what Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen are going to do to you. Keep this up, and you're not just wasting Joe Burrow's prime, you're tarnishing his and Jamar Chase's legacies, and that does make me mad. It makes me mad because I'm a huge Joe Burrow fan, huge Jamar Chase fan. It's obvious their talent level, but I think it's being wasted. The defensive side of the ball has to improve. Vegas has the win total at 9.5. I don't see it. Not at all. My floor is 5-12. Ceiling 10-7, I guess. If the offense just is spectacular, historic. But my prediction is 6-11. The offense will score, but this is the worst defense I've seen in a long, long time, and I don't think even Burrow can cover for it. I'm going 6-11.
I mean, you saw it last year, right? How many one-score games they lose, or how many times if the Bengals make the playoffs and have a half competent defense, Joe Burrow wins the MVP. It's not even a case.
Yep.
He was the greatest football player in we have done so much college football. I was about to say college football player. He was one of the greatest college football players of all time. That's what I meant to say. But he's the greatest quarterback last season. Like, Lamar Jackson had a stellar year. Josh Allen, I will never disrespect Josh Allen, but probably third to win the MVP last season when he did. But, I mean, we can go back to all the times he should have won it anyways. So he got what was coming to him. But Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, Braden, name who was when at Illinois in college, who was the biggest Chase Brown fan on the planet.
That was Mr. Wagner over there.
I'm going to go back to 2322, our podcast, and I will post just how much I loved Chase Brown and said he will be a player in the NFL. And he finally showed it when Zach Moss, talk about a bum, Zach Moss finally, unfortunate way to get benched through an injury. Sorry about it. But finally let Chase Brown into the spotlight. He grasped it. He's not getting it back. So I'm a huge Bengals fan too. You talk about Jamar Chase, very talented, but if he doesn't have Joe Burrow, he may not go 1.1 in fantasy, right?
True.
So I'm as big a Joe Burrow fan as anybody else as well. I'm rooting for him, but I mean, if he throws for, it was like he had 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in like 8 straight games or whatever it was last year, and they lost like 6 of them. So
it's embarrassing. Truly is.
I don't know what else to do for him. So score some points. That's all I got. Do you want to? Should we do does anybody know how to do a backflip here? Because we're about to do a full 360. We're about to do a full 360. I have never seen a football program more dramatic at the quarterback position in so many different lights. I'm going to talk about that before I even mention Kevin Stefanski. I know I just did, but before I even mentioned him, let's get a little timeline going, shall we? Eagle star quarterback Kenny Pickett. On March 12th, 2025, he signs with the Browns. Kevin Stefanski is astounded. I have my starting quarterback. I'm really excited about what Kenny Pickett brings to this team. So a month later, he goes and cheats on Kenny Pickett and goes and gets 4,900-year-old Joe Flacco, who is still slinging the rock like he's 21. A month later, on April 11th, they get him. What happens in April about 2 weeks later? Draft day, the greatest day for anybody in the offseason. They don't just get one, they get 2 quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel and retired Jersey Shadur Sanders. So now we have 4 quarterbacks, right? But wait, there's more. We don't want to play 3 of them, so we're going to sign Tyler Huntley, the Pro Bowler, to come be on our roster. Oh, wait, but Deshaun Watson's on the sideline. We have 6 now. We have 6 quarterbacks, and only 2 of them played in the preseason, basically. Maybe Flacco, whatever you want to talk about. But Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders played, and Tyler Huntley got a 2-minute drive that won people millions in the last preseason game, right? Inside joke. I shouldn't say that because of John Mateer. So inside joke was not actually gambled on. Sorry. So now we flip the script, and Kenny Pickett is gone, right? We're left with Joe Flacco, our starting quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, deservingly the quarterback 2, and Shadur Sanders, who his tenure was made of -37 quarterback sacks on 1 play. What are we doing in Cleveland? And we have debatably the best defensive player that doesn't want to be there, but then you throw money at him and he does. How long is that going to work? It didn't work for Micah Parsons. How long is this going to work? I feel like I wanted my rant pretty long, but I feel like I had to do it. Let's keep kicking it down the line, right? Let's go to the running back position. Obviously, we have Jerome Ford, day 1 starter, right? Next, we get Quinshon Judkins, right? Absolute stud back. Gets arrested. We have who gets drafted, right? So our draft goes 2nd round, we get Judkins. We turn around in the 3rd round, we get Dylan Gabriel. Hey, we have Jerome Ford, we have Judkins. Let's go get Dylan Sampson, right? Let's go get another one. Let's go get another running back. Then we turn around, this isn't enough. Undrafted free agent Raheem Sanders, right? We got 4. So we have 4 quarterbacks and we have 5 quarterbacks and we have 4 running backs. I'll say it again. What are we doing in Cleveland? But wait, there's more. Then Mason Graham joins the team, right? And has what is one of the lousiest camps NFL analysts have ever seen from anybody, not just at the defensive tackle position, but any first rounder to ever come out of the draft. He looks unathletic. He looks slow. He looks like he'll bring nothing to the table. Let's title this podcast, Cleveland, What Are We Doing? All right, let's talk about it. Kevin Stefanski, right? We've been a long way since COVID hit in 2020. I'm going to be on, if the Cleveland Browns make the playoffs, I'm going to be on every Post-it board in the nation. And hey, no press is bad press. That's what they say. No press is bad press. Kevin Stefanski in 2021, guys, he won Coach of the Year, if you can remember that far back. When he went 11-5, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card. And since then, they were at an all-time high. And then you let go of Baker Mayfield. Cleveland, what are we doing, right? There is a star spot, and it's not just Myles Garrett. It is just how well Jerry Jeudy played last year as a Cleveland Brown. I'm not sure what the answer is at quarterback. I'm not sure if we're going to split 50 carries between 17 running backs. But one thing is for sure, Jerry Jeudy is a big playmaker that the Browns can rely on day in and night out. Stefanski's going into his 6th season, and even starting 11-5, shows a 41-46 tenure with only 1 win in the playoffs over those 5 seasons. You talk about a hot seat, Stefanski's is on fire as it gets. Going 3-14 last season was just abysmal. You bring in talent as the rookies, but you're unsure of how to develop them. Your first-round pick looks like a bum. You have 18 running backs, and all of them are great. So, I mean, at least we have the triple read option like we're running the Navy offense. And we still have Shadur Sanders, who week 1 lit it up in preseason, but has been downhill since. So what is the storyline for this Cleveland Browns team? They don't have an answer at quarterback. They have 2 rookie quarterbacks that they can hopefully develop, and then Joe Flacco. How long until Flacco hits the bench? Or retires midseason? Probably both if I'm him. Who is the starting running back in Cleveland? What week during this year does Myles Garrett request a trade? Right? All these question marks surrounding. And let's say this as well. We'll talk about the Steelers in a minute. You're in a division that's debatably the best in football. And you've gone like this. I have their ceiling at 3-4. And Their ceiling at 7-10 and their floor at 3-14. They are plus 950 to make the playoffs, which is the worst in the NFL. I'm going to laugh when I say I think they win 4 games this year, and I'm being polite. I have nothing to say. I've said enough. I'll let you guys take it over while we talk about the Ravens here in a second.
Yeah, obviously, my sweet prince, Joe Flacco, coming back to the Browns. That does make me happy. I do think they have some good weapons over there, and Jerry Jeudy. I think David Njoku's a good tight end. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Joe. As far as the future goes, I really don't know what they're doing. I think like multiple bad quarterbacks doesn't fix the problem. Like they're just like throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. And I don't think that's the way to run things personally, but that's my opinion.
You also need a running back that's going to give you 300 carries.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb was that guy. He's gone. Jerome Ford had a great season, but now, we won't even say Raheem Sanders. I'm not sure what's going on with him at the roster. We have Judkins, who we're not even sure is going to be eligible to play. Yep. Dylan Sampson's a stud. I will say they drafted studs at running back. Like, kudos to them for doing it. But what good is it to you if you have 3 running backs and no other talent? And they're all rookies. That's assuming they all turn out when they're running the ball behind SEC and Ohio State offenses. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Wow, we spent way longer than the Browns. Let's go to the Ravens. Thank you guys for listening to my TED Talk. If the Browns make the playoffs, I will probably have to resign.
Yeah,
I still won't, but I might have to.
We're going to go ahead and flip all that on its head and talk about a functional franchise here. The Baltimore Ravens, 12-5 last season. They did lose that divisional matchup versus the Bills, 27-25 on a heartbreaking dropped 2-point conversion by Mark Andrews. You can't say that's the only reason they lost that game. The game doesn't come down to one play, but it definitely hurts when you have a chance to tie up the game and go to overtime. The last time they won the division was last year, 2024. The last time they won the AFC was back in 2012. We just mentioned Joe Flacco. That was his Super Bowl MVP season when they beat the 49ers. John Harbaugh is going into his 18th season. He's 172-104, absolutely stellar coach, and he has been for a long time in the NFL. Guys, this is one of the best rosters in the NFL, if not the best, and it's so hard to only talk about a few select players. I'm going to start with Lamar Jackson, 2-time NFL MVP and 2024 MVP runner-up. He might have deserved that MVP trophy last year. He threw for 4,200 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He also had 915 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson is he's definitely top 3 quarterback in the NFL, if not the best. They also brought in a couple guys to assist with Derrick Henry, their stellar offensive line, Zay Flowers, Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith. This team is just disgusting. They bring in old DeAndre Hopkins, Chidobe Awuzie. They draft Malachi Starks and Tyler Loop to replace Justin Tucker. But they also bring in Jair Alexander, a cornerback from Green Bay. He suffered injuries in the past 2 seasons. He only played 7 games in each of the past 2. But prior to that, he's an all-pro caliber corner. And adding him to the Ravens just seems unfair. Their win total is set at 11.5. Their floor for me is 9-8, and their ceiling is 15-2. They do have a bit of a tough schedule to start out the season, though. In their first 6 weeks, they play the Bills, the Lions, the Browns, the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Rams. So the Browns in there are an easy win, or they should be an easy win. Those other 5 teams are going to be tough, though. They're minus 650 to make the playoffs. I have this team going 14-3 and perhaps winning the AFC.
Yeah, I have them winning the Super Bowl. It's the best roster in football.
Absolutely.
You nailed it. You nailed it right on the head. And adding Jair Alexander, I mean, that's a top 5 corner in the NFL. Like, it's just it is truly unfair. They're going to be really good this season.
I feel like that we talk about like college football, we talk about the NFL and divisions and whatever, I feel like just the AFC, and it feels like it used to be different for a long time, that the AFC is starting to dominate the NFC, right? Obviously, the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. The Lions are on pace as well. But, I mean, you combat that with Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, if they were, from a quarterback play standpoint, if they were half decent. You talk about the Chiefs, you talk about the Bills. I mean, there's so much talent just on those three teams between the Bills, the Chiefs, and, geez, I'm forgetting the last one. The Ravens that we just talked about, right? So you talk about the three, debatably the best quarterbacks in football are in the AFC. So, and somebody can't make the AFC championship every time, and Patrick Mahomes is not that one. So every time.
Yep.
This is a team I'm most interested to hear Brent talk about.
Yeah, let's move over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2024, it was another 10-7 season. This team is the definition of consistent. They're always in the mix. They're always competitive, and they never seem to get past that. But here's the wild stat. Mike Tomlin is entering his 19th season, and he's never had a losing record. 19 years, never below 500. That is mind-blowing, and yet Steelers fans want him fired. I don't get it. Fired for what? Do people realize how hard it is to be a Super Bowl contender year in and year out? Joe and I were Giants and Panthers fans, and we can tell you it can get a whole lot worse than it is right now. Mike Tomlin,
I would do anything to make the playoffs once.
Yep, exactly. Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest coaches of all time. Point blank, period. His 183 and 107-2 record backs that up. My player to watch, it's TJ Watt. It's an easy call here. Last year, he battled injuries and only had 7 sacks, which is way below his usual 20-plus range throughout the season. But now he's paid like the top guy. I guess not anymore after the Micah Parsons news today. But $41 million a year, expectations are sky high for TJ. If he stays healthy, I think he bounces back, reminds everyone why he's one of the best pass rushers of this generation. Additions. Man, the Steelers had a busy offseason. First off, Aaron Rodgers is the new quarterback. Last year with the Jets was rough, and it honestly looked like he might have lost a step. But being another full year removed from that Achilles injury, I'm willing to give it a little bit benefit of the doubt. I'm interested to see what he does for the Steelers. Then you add DK Metcalf, a legit alpha receiver. He's bigger, faster, and sharper as a route runner than George Pickens, in my opinion. And he can still win those contested catches too. So I think that's a huge upgrade there. At tight end, they might have the best duo of tight ends in the league right now. Pat Freiermuth and the newly added Jonnu Smith. That's a lot of versatility. They also added some really good rookies in Caleb Johnson and Derek Harmon from Oregon, the plug-and-play run stopper in the middle. And the secondary got some veteran help too with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay. Sure, they're both past their peaks, but experience matters, and they'll at least stabilize that back end. The win total, it's set at 8.5. I've got their floor at 7-10, their ceiling at 11-6. And because Tomlin never goes under 500, I'll slot them right in at 9-8. Not flashy, not confident, but steady. That's the Tomlin way.
I mean, I just think it's hilarious. So, like, what did you say, 19th season?
Yeah, 19th season for Mike Tomlin. Never below 500.
I mean, I understand people being upset. Like, I mean, my whole family is Steeler fans, right? I've heard it as well. They're frustrated on just every year they know it's a first-round exit. I just I would love to have it one time. That'd be cool. I'm not converting to being a Steelers fan. I'm not doing it. We're sticking it through and through. But I'm intrigued by this season more than ever. Brent, you touched on all the people that are coming in to the Steelers organization, and I think that's a huge piece of it, is that typically the Steelers don't have turnover like that, right? That they had the killer bees. Le'Veon Bell held out and destroyed that franchise, but they still, like, kept going. Like, you lose Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown in a span of 3-4 years, and you're still making the playoffs every year, that has something to say with your coaching, right? So intrigued to see what Aaron Rodgers can do in what's likely his finale with the NFL. Maybe, I don't know if he can play one more year. But excited, too, to see what Buckeye quarterback Will Howard can do when he's ready, right? So a guy that's played in big games. Mike Tomlin is going to feed Caleb Johnson like it's corn in Iowa. It's going to be a sight to see. So pumped to see what the Steelers can do this upcoming season. But let's head into our final division here with the AFC South, one that is just we need some work. Tell me about the Texans.
Yeah, perhaps the worst division in football, but the Texans are the champ of it. They went 10-7. They lost in the divisional matchup versus the Chiefs last year, 23-14. So last time they won the division, obviously last year. They've never won the AFC, but that's not too much of a surprise. They are the youngest team in the NFL. Their head coach is DeMeco Ryans. It's his third season. He's gone 20-14 with them so far. My player to watch is Danielle Hunter. He's entering his age 31 season, and he's playing some of the best football of his life the past couple of years. Last year, he had 46 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and he led the team in 12 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, and 23 quarterback hits. He's still got it going on, even at 30-plus. C.J. Stroud had a bit of a sophomore slump last season, but he was still very solid. The additions they're bringing in Nick Chubb. He's perhaps at the end of his career, but with Joe Mixon missing some time to start the season, Nick Chubb could see a little bit of a revival here. They also bring in Christian Kirk and both Iowa State receivers, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, from the draft this season. They also traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one of the better safeties in terms of interceptions in the past couple years. They are also building their entire offensive line except for the right tackle. Left guard Laken Tomlinson coming from Seattle, Jake Andrews coming from New England, Ed Ingram coming from Minnesota, the Vikings, and their 48th overall draft pick, Ariante Irsay, left tackle out of Minnesota, is expected to start. So that guy, the rookie there, expected to start at left tackle, protecting C.J. Stroud's blind side, could be huge. Those are all solid pieces on the offensive line. Let's see if they can all gel together and protect their quarterback. Their over-under win total is set at 9.5. They're still expected to be the big dogs in this division. Their floor for me is 6-11, and their ceiling is 14-3. They're at minus 130 to make the playoffs. I have them going 11-6 and winning this division once again.
I think about the Houston Texans, and I still think about Matt Schaub, right? Because it feels like this team, every year, they win the AFC South. They're the 4 seed, and they lose.
Yep.
It's like clockwork.
And they always have the 1:00 Saturday game.
Yeah, it's
Every
really
single year.
it is really weird that is true. That is really true.
Yep.
A team going for that 1:00 Saturday game, Brent, is the Tennessee Titans. Interesting organization as well, as I cap off my horrible teams, besides the Kansas City Chiefs, but still horrible. I'm happy to talk about the underdog, unless it's the Cleveland Browns. I'm happy to talk about the underdog, Braden and Brent. So here we go. Brian Callahan going into his second season, second tenure, obviously 3-14 with the Titans. He was the OC for the Bengals in 2019 through 2023. This is always my favorite quote, right? When we talk about offensive coordinators in the league is, how good were you, or was Joe Burrow really just him, right? We're about to find out in year 2 under Callahan. My player to watch here is going to be, I think it's actually easy. It's going to take some snaps off the mind of who we'll talk about later, but running back Tony Pollard is my guy actually to watch a little bit. Surprisingly, had 1,000 yards last season with 5 touchdowns on the ground through almost 250 carries. Nobody's King Henry when it comes to being in Tennessee, but I feel like he did exactly what the Titans called him to do last season. So excited to see what he can do. The Titans haven't won it since 2022 in the AFC South, as well as they've never won the AFC Conference Championship. Work to do, right? But when you have 1.1 in a draft that's a little intriguing, it gives you a different sense of hope. It gives you a different sense of hope that this guy's going to come in and turn the organization around. That guy goes by the name of Cam Ward, Miami, Florida Hurricanes quarterback, and they think he's going to take them to the promised land. It's not going to happen in year one, but when you get to 3, 4, 5, like we're starting to see with years to debate between Stroud and Bryce Young, Cam Ward starting his journey, right? Last season, he won the coveted Manning Award for the top quarterback in the country. It'll be really interesting to see if a Manning does that this upcoming season. But he had 4,300 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And despite being short and small in stature a little bit, Cam Ward's not really a runner. And people kind of get that mixed up a little bit. Cam Ward is much more of a threat as a pocket passer. And when you put him at the eye test, I think that's going to screw up a couple NFL teams when they're watching film. But don't get me wrong. He has the wheels to take off when he sees something through the pocket, but he sits in the pocket. The offensive line protects him, and he threw for 4,300 yards despite saying he may be lacking height, correct? But Cam Ward is quick. He's got a quick release. A couple guys that are going to need to help him. I mean, we could talk about Calvin Ridley a little bit, but I mean, you want to reference Tyler Lockett, the Seattle wide receiver, correct? You need a vet. You need to learn. This is the guy to do that. Obviously, having 49 receptions and 600 yards last season for 2 touchdowns. When you think about needing a vet, really, he's kind of the guy that comes to mind. And I mean, we saw the knowing he was going to be the 1.1 when he said Calvin Ridley and Treylon Burks were 2 of the 5 greatest wide receivers in the league. But I think he brings a new energy to the team. But you need a guy like Lockett that's been there, has won a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson, right? Has been to the highest point of football in his life to kind of direct you a little more. So I always get excited about rookie quarterbacks. I'm excited to see what he can do. They're over-under set at 5.5. I think it's fair with a plus 370 to make the playoffs, which is crazy that they have the same exact as the Browns, or close enough, and they have a 650-point difference. So tells you how much hope they have in Cam Ward. I have their floor at 4-13. Their ceiling at 8-9. I don't think this is a playoff team. I think they take a step in the right direction, doubling up on wins and going 6-11. So I'm intrigued to see what Cam Ward and honestly every quarterback in this class, what they have, because next year you could see some teams double up with who's coming. So rookie QBs, it may be a one and done. You need to show some talent real quick, because if you get at the 1.1, if you're the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, I'd be fearful for your job next season.
Yep, I agree with that. But I mean, they already have a lot of trust in him. Already named him a captain in his first season. Saw that. I think it was either today or yesterday.
Yep.
So that's obviously huge for him. But best of luck to him. Obviously had a great season at Miami last year. So we'll see if he can carry it over.
As well as wearing Warren Moon's numbers. So they put everything in the coop. So
yep.
We'll see what Cam Ward has in year one. Oh, Brent, I love that you got this team.
Time for the Indianapolis Colts, boys. 2024, they finished 8-9. Probably my favorite moment from last year was Colts were still in the playoff hunt. I think it was like week 16, week 17. My Giants were busy tanking their way to the number 1 overall draft pick. And then Indy let Drew Lock torch them for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns out of nowhere. The rest of his games, he was averaging like 100 yards and 0 touchdowns. So it was interesting. But Gus Bradley got fired for it. So there's that. But anyways, into this season, Shane Steichen is entering his 3rd year as head coach, sitting at 17-17. Honestly, I think this is a make or break year for him. If the offense doesn't take a step forward, I wouldn't be shocked if the Colts move on. And speaking of the offense, Colts fans, buckle up. You've officially entered the Daniel Jones experience, or we can call him by his new nickname, Indiana Jones. It's a great nickname. No more Danny Dimes. He's Indiana Jones now.
That's sick.
Such cool nicknames for such a terrible quarterback.
That is really awesome.
But I'll tell you what that means. As a Giants fan, I lived it. It means checkdowns galore, holding the ball too long, and a noticeable fear of throwing deep. Sure, he had that 2022 playoff win. It was glorious for me. I thought we had our future quarterback, but obviously that didn't pan out. And I've lived this movie before, and the ending, it usually doesn't end pretty. So I was kind of shocked to see them move to Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson, especially with him being so young. But we'll see how it works out. The addition I do like a lot is rookie tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Best receiving tight end in the draft class, and he's going to fit perfectly in this offense. Why? Because Daniel Jones loves the check down and underneath throws. Warren could easily end up being one of the Colts' top pass catchers this year right away, if not the top pass catcher. I truly believe that he's going to have a really, really good rookie season. Defensively, like I said, they did move on from Gus Bradley, so that's a plus. But looking at the roster, it's rough. Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum were added to the secondary, so that helps. But outside of DeForest Buckner, this defense has way too many holes. Vegas has their win total at 7.5. My floor is a brutal 3-14. Ceiling is another 8-9 season. But I've lived through the Daniel Jones experience, and 9 times out of 10, it is not fun. I've got the Colts going 5-12 this year, and I think Shane Steichen will be out of a job by the end of it.
You talk about another guy. You see, if you're just that great as a coordinator, if you're, that's an Eagle, Braden.
Yep, yes, he was.
Indiana Jones, I guarantee, is coming out week 1, 400 yards, 6 touchdowns.
I really hope not. I would cry.
I would laugh really hard. I love you, but I would laugh really hard.
It's bound to happen.
Braden, we talked a little bit about pick 1 just a couple teams ago. Why don't you tell me about pick 2 and some draft day surprises?
Yeah, the Jags, doesn't get much worse than they had last season, 4-13. I think people expected them to take a step back. I don't think they thought it was going to be this bad, though. Last time they won the division was 2022. They have never won the AFC. They had a chance against the Patriots back in 2017. Couldn't get it done. Actually, that was that wasn't the AFC Championship game. That was the divisional round.
Conference championship.
It was the conference championship. What am I talking about? They
beat the Steelers and put them in a blender.
That's correct. Miles Jack wasn't
greatest
down.
Quarterback of all time.
Dougie P is gone. They got a new coach, Liam Cohen, who made quite the impression in his opening interview. It's his first season. He's a former offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. He's going to have to help out Trevor Lawrence. I think it's a make or break year for him. Surprisingly, one of the best quarterbacks coming out of college in a long time, number 1 overall pick. But he's been struggling. Last year he was not great. He missed some time. Mac Jones came in and didn't do much better. I think during games that Trevor Lawrence played last year, he was 2-8. Just not great from the kid. To help him out, he does have Brian Thomas Jr., absolutely electric in his rookie year, one of the only bright spots for them last year. They bring in Diami Brown, and then on the offensive line, they bring in Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry. And, as Joe was saying, that number 2 overall pick, Travis Hunter, wide receiver / quarterback. He's listed as the starting slot wide receiver for them right now and a backup corner. Last year, Heisman winner, absolutely generational athlete. It'll be very exciting to see how the Jags use him. I like putting him in the slot. I think that's a very good option, and I'll help out Trevor Lawrence quite a bit. But I do expect him to come in on defense occasionally and help out as well there, because this roster is not great. Their over-under is set at 7.5, so I think they are expected to take a bit of a step up. The floor is 5-12, ceiling is 11-6. I think they could win this division if the Texans falter, but I just think the roster is not where they need it to be right now to be a contender. I've been going 7-10 and missing out on the playoffs.
I mean, Braden, when I think about the Jaguars, I think about two things and two things only. Number one, we haven't had a fantasy football headache this confusing since Taysom Hill. And number two, rootin' tootin'.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention Bayshaw Tootin. Yeah, ETN and Tanks Bigby have both struggled in camp, so Tootin could get some carries. Absolute stud out of Virginia Tech, so keep an eye on him as well.
If it is 3rd and goal on the goal line on the 1 and Bayshaw Tootin is not in the game, we learned real quick about Duval very quickly. So that's all I have to say. I'm intrigued to see where Travis Hunter goes in fantasy football drafts. So
It'll be interesting.
yeah, man. Awesome. Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out here with us on your Thursday night. You're probably wondering, we're typically bouncing around a little bit. We have a surprise coming next podcast, so make sure you tune in at – let me pull it up for you because I know you probably won't hear everything I say. We have our NFC Breakdown September 4th. That is Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central for you guys still out there in Oklahoma listening. We promise that it will be over before kickoff of the Eagles-Cowboys. Braden, I'm talking to you mostly. But before kickoff of that game, we'll go through all 16 teams of the NFC. We'll have our week 1 predictions of Thursday Night Football as well and a special announcement. So make sure you are here for the full length. Make sure you get everything ready to rock and roll. Fantasy football drafts, you got 6 more days to get them done. I mean, technically you can do it on Thursday at 6:30 with us, but that'd be a little crazy. But hey, right up to the deadline is what I like to call it. Brent, Braden, you guys got anything to say before we log off on this beautiful Thursday evening?
No, just want to mention again that I'm happy Micah Parsons is a Packer. So we can talk about it more next week.
I can give you a full 5-minute segment to cut a birthday cake if that's what you need. If that's what you need. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us here at the Sports Outlet Show. Like I said, next Thursday, come here, 6:30, NFC Breakdown. Stay through the whole time. We'll have our blind top 10. Don't worry. We got special announcements coming. We just keep improving here at the Sports Outlet Show. But first, we have business to take care of in Atlanta. So we'll see you when we get back here on the 4th of September. Have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. Make sure to pound some beers and go Hokies.